Well, this is going to be interesting because I didn't taste mine. I don't have my measuring cup. I used to have like a double shot glass with measuring marks. So this is all eyeballed. I have no idea what I did.
Dangerously.
Well, I did two full shots of the brandy. I know that, but I don't know how much, like, because my shot glass is like a mixing shot glass, so it has a shot glass that
shot
size.
Glass is
1.5.
1.5.
Yeah, so I think I put in just under one. Oh, so I might have put in 3 ounces of brandy, just under an ounce of my triple sec or my citrus mix, and then like
what's your mix?
Well, because my lime. First of all, welcome to the Illustrious Gentlemen. Go to tigshow.com for all your TIG Show needs. We're talking about making sidecars. So my lime or my lemon, I didn't think gave me enough juice. So then I put a little bit of lime in there. And then I'm like, well, it's supposed to have an orange liqueur. So let me smash this like halo, like cutie up in there. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a mix of orange, lime, and lemon juice. And then my homemade simple syrup with pure cane sugar. Simple syrup is great.
Fancy pants.
Yeah, I am a hipster. I'm drinking out of a tap and bottle Tucson, Arizona glass. Sweating my balls off inside, ironically enough, tonight. Well, yeah, there's too many trains and too many AC units on the outside and too many planes.
Oh, was the audio bitch last week?
It was just going to be too much. I don't know. I don't listen to the podcast anymore, but I could tell it was going to be too much. All right, let me pull up my notes here. But like I said, everyone can go to tigshow.com for all your TIG Show needs, which are plenty. I assume people have plenty of TIG Show needs.
That's all the needs.
Yeah, that's Scott.
We meet him.
Yeah, we meet him. Sometimes exceed him. Scott's currently drawing Superman at DC Comics. Go pick those up. Or better yet, you could pick up some Copperhead trades from Image Comics at your local comic shop. Don't give that Bezos guy any more money. Give money to your local comic shop.
Right.
And then I'm currently posting new pages of my new comic to Patreon once a week. It's a road trip sci-fi crime noir, which basically means it's in black and white and has a lot of violence. Go to patreon.com/super75, patreon.com/super75 to check that out. And as a bonus, all patrons get this podcast up to 5 days early before the rest of you. Sometimes it's one day early.
That's amazing. What a value.
Sometimes it's 1 day early. Sometimes it's 5 days early.
1 to 5 days.
Yes. I mean, it's either way, it's early. So
it's early.
Yeah. For $1 a month. So basically a quarter an episode.
You want to know what all the cool kids are talking about around the water cooler?
Yeah. Don't be like one of those dorks who have to wait till Monday. You want to talk about it on Friday. Right. Yeah.
Be hip to the show, yo.
All right. So our cocktails tonight are sidecars. Why don't you walk us through it, Scott?
Well, yeah, you mentioned triple sec earlier in the day. I think that is a thing rather than the simple syrup. I think it's triple sec, lemon juice, and brandy. I think traditionally, I think it's 3/4 an ounce lemon juice and triple sec, and then 2 ounces of brandy is what I usually do when I make one. This one is 1.5 ounces of lemon juice, 1.5 of simple syrup. There's an ounce of triple sec, and I use the 99 oranges, which is 99 proof orange liqueur, and 4 ounces of brandy.
Someone's going to get crunk. Someone's halfway through.
Good.
So I don't have a stocked bar, and I refuse to buy bar ingredients for the one time a year I drink cocktails. So that's why I made mine home style, I guess you'd call it. I squeezed my own juices and I made my own sugar because I'm sweet.
From locally sourced things.
Right. Yeah, I had some sugarcane flown in from Waikiki
earlier
today.
The citrus, I mean,
Florida's best.
Citrus, cattle, copper, climate, and cotton, right?
The 5 C's.
The 5 C's of Arizona, yo.
Right. Yep. So yeah, mine doesn't. Mine is just citrus juice, sugar syrup, and brandy. It's not bad. And I saw in the photo that you sent a week ago or so when you were like, I'm making sidecars. I saw that brand of brandy at the grocery store, but the old E&J was half the price. So I went with the budget E&J brandy.
You'll have to let me know how it is. I've never had E&J. I don't know what it means. I think the Paul Mason's pretty yummy for the price. So that's what I usually go with.
Yeah.
Though I would be willing to explore more brandies. There's one at Fry's that I keep eyeballing every time I walk by. It's called State and Able. It's like a $25 bottle, but it's a brandy out of Kentucky that they age in used bourbon barrels. I don't know if I want to mix those two things.
You know,
I like them separately. I don't know what I'll feel about them combined. It's like that slutty R2D2 dress. It's like, I don't know that I want to combine those things. It's confusing.
Yeah, especially when you wear it. Yeah, so on first pull here, I think I told you in a text earlier today, the last time I had any kind of brandy, I think I was doing shots with my Meemaw at my dad's graduation. So that would have been like my graduation, my dad's retirement. That would have been like 98 or something like that. So
I was up at your place in March 19 and we made sidecars.
Okay, I don't have any memory of that. Was that before we got crunk at the Conor McGregor Habib fight or after? Because if it was after, I literally don't remember anything except walking home with you in the rain. It was very romantic.
I don't know. That might have been the previous time I was up. Was that October?
Maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think so. No, so it was the other time.
Oh, well, I don't
remember.
I don't remember. And
Ryan, you ignorant slut.
And on first taste, this just kind of tastes like a whiskey sour. I have a very strong bourbon taste for my E&J brandy. It's good though. You know why I like it? Because it's good for I couldn't drink a bunch of these in one setting. It's good for a cocktail.
Oh, I had 4 of these the other night.
Yeah, and a triple tonight. All right. So while Scott's getting in a good mood on his 4 ounces of brandy, and how many ounces of your 99 proof triple sec?
1, so 5 ounces.
5 ounces of hard alcohol. Because I always thought brandy was kind of like almost like a cognac, like a 30% alcohol, but it's a strong 80 proof. It's a solid 80 proof.
Oh yeah, it hangs.
Yeah, it does. So tonight, since Scott's getting in such a good mood, tonight's gonna be a posi show for as much as we can. Make it a posi show, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about some of the creators and friends who have helped us in our comics career. I don't know if helped us is the correct term. Maybe meant something to us, or been a mentor, or
sure.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like they have the biggest impact.
Yeah.
On your
professional
career.
Yeah, and by no means is my list a complete list, because I'm sure I'm forgetting people, but there's 4 or 5 people I think about when I think about.
Oh yeah, thankfully I don't know that many people, so mine's manageable.
Sure. But yeah, so my little notes here. Everybody needs some help. Everybody needs some help most of the time. I was sober when I wrote. Is
that a note you wrote down?
Yes, and I was sober. I wrote it at work. Everyone needs some help some of the time, whether it's positive reinforcement, a supportive editor, a friend, or a colleague. There are people throughout a career who can make a difference in either how you work in comics or how you feel about being in comics, etc.
On a very special episode of Tig Show.
That's right. And right before we get from the jump, I do remember you at one point had told me you never had a portfolio review.
This is correct.
Okay. So I just want to throw out 2 honorable mentions. The best portfolio reviews I ever got, Jim Lee and Greg Capullo. I've talked about them in the past on this show, but Jim Lee actually flipped my page over and showed me how to draw what I was trying to draw. And he just had a Sharpie. And then he asked permission first. You know, I was willing to let my original go to get it.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, James, but another time. And then Greg Capullo was just having a smoke outside of a con, and I was dejected. And he saw me holding my leave behinds, you know, your stapled photocopies that you leave. And he's like, hey, man, can I take a look at those? And he flipped through it, and he was complimentary about a Exo Manowar drawing. And very nice, because prior to that, I won't name names, but that's the same show that an artist, a writer and publisher took my leave behinds, handed it to his artist, and his artist looked at it and threw it right in the garbage. And I was still standing at their table.
Oh, what a cunt.
Yeah, so... I just want to give a shout out because I'm sure, you know, Jim Lee and Greg Capullo, they need the TIG Show bump. So I'm going to give them a little, you know, I'm going to pay it forward by giving them shout outs on the show.
Hang in there, guys.
Yeah. One of these days you'll make it. All right. Like I said, I have 4 or 5. If you only have a couple, maybe I should go first and then we'll intersperse.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah.
Ping pong.
I'm interested if we're going to have
Bang
any
back and forth.
I wonder if we're going to have any duplicates. I think there might be one duplicate, but
oh, you think so?
I'm going to start out with a former retailer, current alcohol supplier, and that's Mike Malvey. I talked about him on last week's show when he supplied me with some whiskey. But Mike loves comics. He loves comic creators. He loves talking shop. If this is your first episode, you don't know who I'm talking about. Malvey at one point owned Atomic Comics, which I think was the biggest retailer chain in the West. He had 4 or 5 stores at its height. The most local creators I know, I originally met through doing free comic book day events at Atomic Comics. So, you know, like Ben Glendenning, you know, all those old school dudes, Jim Hanna, I met through Atomic. When Ryan Leibovitz at Golden Apple Comics was going to start publishing comics, he needed an artist. He was talking to Mike Malvey, and Mike Malvey recommended me, and that ended up being 5 issues worth of work. Introduced me to an editor I recently worked with, introduced me to Michael McMillan, who's, you know, my actor friend, humble brag. Like I said, Will Dennis, my editor, who's my editor on Family Tree. Will's the first editor who ever went out of his way to he got me a raise. He found out what my page rate was, and he's like, well, that's disgusting. So he got me a raise. And all that, you know, all that stemmed from Malvey just saying like, oh, here's a guy, he's reliable, he's cool, you know, because he could have recommended, maybe he did recommend 10 other dudes and they all said no by the time it got down to me. But as far as I know, Malvey recommended me. Leibovitz hired me. And also the coolest thing ever in comics is thanks to Malvey, I got to hang out with 7 Image founders, if even for just a couple minutes, and have dinner with them. So that's something I'll never forget. Got to hang out poolside with Scotty Young and drink and shoot the shit because of one of those free comic book day things. Almost got to have share a keg with Steve Dillon, you know, like rest in peace. Yeah.
That close.
Yeah. Shout out to Malvey, who's still Steve to this day, widely loved in the Arizona comic scene, and not just Arizona, but, you know, all around comics. Everyone loves Malvey. He's still there. He still reads comics, still showing up, still supporting the cause.
Yeah, still represents.
That's right.
That's a good one. Mike.
Cheers, buddy. All right, who's first on your list? Oh, wait, first, let's do this. What is how did you meet Mike? Was it just through Free Comic Book Day, or do you even remember? Because we did was it Code Breakers that we had a party for you, and there's a cake. The Glendennings made you a cake.
Yes.
There's there's like a backdrop to take photos with and shit.
Yeah, that was 10. Man, I don't know if I had done something with Mike before then. And he wasn't even there.
Yeah, it's
So,
just a store. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know what my first one was. I don't know. I did that Wolverine 100
Yeah.
thing.
We all signed. Yeah, we all did the signing there.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was probably a free comic book invite though at some point.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. It was so long ago.
Yeah. It's years and years.
I don't remember so good.
You're going to run out there. I hope you got something else lined up. All right. Who's first on your appreciation list?
This may be cheap. I don't care. It's my brother from another mother, Mr. Supergirl himself, Jay Ferber. Yeah, he was like the first industry dude that really never gave me the time of day. Well, I guess, we met after Boom, so I guess I'm not counting them.
Let me scratch Boom off my list.
Yeah. Super cool dude. I love the man. Yeah, I would still be making copies in a room somewhere if it weren't for the intervention of one Jay Ferber.
Yeah, isn't it
Salud.
Just to rehash some stuff we've talked about in previous episodes, but it's been a while. Wasn't it the the flawed pre-order numbers for Copperhead #1 that made you like
that? That's why I have a comic book career, because of a clerical error.
Well, because of clerical error and a quote from Brian K. Vaughan. I think those two combined made you walk in. You walked into your boss's office, said, "Hey, man, I'm a comic book artist now."
Took a shit right on his desk.
Yeah, left him an upper decker. Yeah. Jay. Yeah, Jay currently is writing on the Supergirl TV show.
The final season of Supergirl. Yeah.
Final season. I'm sure he has much more in the works. Good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost came out to Acme one year. I think something happened and he couldn't make it the day before or something like that. But he was very sorry. I'll never forget that he was very sorry.
He's not above big timing.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever met Jay because he didn't come out to that show.
Yeah. I mean, I've known for 8 years now, and we've only ever seen each other once. But I know if I'm ever in Burbank, I know I have a couch to crash on for as long as I want.
Right. Yeah. And since you're not gonna extrapolate, I'll keep telling stories. Isn't he also the reason you got your first free plane ticket? Didn't you go to Baltimore for free to sign?
Yeah, that's the furthest east I've been. If you can go much further east than like Maine or something, but
right.
Yeah. Shop in Baltimore had us out. It was super cool. It was it was one of those moments, like, besides buying something you would not have normally been able to purchase, like, without comic book, that was the first time I'd ever gone somewhere because of comic books, and that was a super cool moment. Still one of the only times I've gone anywhere because of comic books.
Yeah, it's always
other than the epic 2018 Heroes Con.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that. Okay. So yeah, it's always cool when cons or stores or somebody pays you money to come visit them. It's always super fucking cool, or pays for your trip, which essentially is money. But yeah, we were just earlier tonight. My wife's watching a show, and it's called like Homicide City, Charlotte, and they talk about murders that were solved in Charlotte.
Sure.
And I think I said, I hope nothing comes up from the summer of 2018.
And then
she just looked at me, and then I think she said, I don't think it would be you that'd be the one that I have to worry. And I said, I know, I'm just worried about my buddy.
I was murdered.
All right. My next.
The last few years have been a Bruce Willis Sixth Sense thing.
Yeah. I'm talking to my. Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh
watch.
my God.
I'm gonna watch these again when I'm like 50 and find
You're
out.
just talking to yourself.
I'm talking to myself. I never uploaded them. Yeah. Next on my list is another retailer, and that's Mike Banks at Acme. When Mike the First from Atomic, when Atomic closed down, I was such a huge fan of all their free comic book day events. It was a great way to get all the local guys together once a year to hang out. Mike Banks at Samurai Comics stepped up and he's like, okay, let's do it. And let's do it, bigger and better. And so because of him and because he's such a huge supporter of local comics and local creators, we've been able to do nine years of Acme before the shutdown. Oh, wait, maybe just 8. 9 was canceled. So 8 years of Acme. But yeah, he always is looking for things to do. Like, let's have fun with fans. Let's have fun with creators. Let's have fun with customers. So Mike's always reaching out, trying to do shit. Acme, I've said before, Acme is like one of the things I'm most proud of in my comics career, and it wouldn't have happened without Mike Banks. So I can't leave him off the list. He's one of the best. So yeah. All right, who's next? And I should say everyone should go to samuraicomics.com.
Oh yeah, totes.
Yeah, get comics from there.
Do it right now.
Mm-hmm. Turn this off.
I guess I'm sort of going in order. No, I'm not going to say that. I was going to say I'm going in order of like importance, but it's not like that. So next, I would like to thank my boy Jamie Rich for believing in me and giving a kid from Phoenix a shot.
Explain to the listener who Jamie Rich is and what
Jamie Rich, at the time when I became acquainted with this angel, was the new group editor at Vertigo. And the first Vertigo book he got to greenlight on his own was Dark and Bloody, with Sean Aldridge, and he took a chance on a scrappy young comic booker, and I don't know, was he right?
Did you ever ask him?
I like to pretend he thinks he was.
Now, did you ever ask him, was it your Boom Studios work, or was it Copperhead that let him give a young kid a shot at the big leagues?
No, he saw our Comic Improv Blogspot page. And he's like, that guy draws one hell of a butterfly lady.
Oh. Yeah, I also just implied that having a successful creator-owned comic at Image is not the big leagues. That's not what I meant when I said that. I just meant, I went by the general definition of people call comics the big leagues. You're talking about Marvel, DC. Yeah. So he gave you a shot at Dark and Bloody. You and Sean a shot, colored by the wonderful Tris Mulhillville.
Yeah.
Right? There's like an HI. There's like an HI in the middle of it.
Yes.
Yeah, Trish is great though. Yeah, cool. I like that book. We just talked about it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's since then he's one of the reasons or maybe the reason you've been on
he's
every other Batman.
He moved over to DC proper and took over the Batman universe. Yeah. And he didn't forget me. I like to imagine that he takes a little bit of pride in me being able to continue my career.
Yeah, you're like his protege.
He discovered me.
Yes. Even though we already said Jay discovered you.
Right.
After someone at Boom, after Ian Brill discovered you.
Right. Jamie's my Christopher Columbus.
Right, the one that's going in the books, the one that everyone's heard about.
Right.
Right. Ian Brill's like your Viking invasion up north somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. I'm gonna throw two back to back here real quick because they both mean a lot to me personally for various reasons. One is Fabian Rangel Jr., who was the writer and creator of Doc Unknown. So let's say 4 or 5 years after my first book came out, I was still kind of on the fringes of comics, just putzing around. No one really followed me or knew me or anything like that. And then I met Fabian at a Emerald City convention, and he got a commission from me, and then he hired me to do Doc Unknown. And even though that book was like a super indie book, Fabian's networking and his outreach and his enthusiasm got me personally so many new fans. It's like insane, especially in Texas. So a lot of people know me now because of Doc Unknown.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah. I mean, I went to a Texas show. I mean, the first show I ever did was in 2005 in Texas, but I went back to Texas in like 2015, 2016, and just did gangbuster, made great money, all that stuff because of Fabian. I went to Heroes for the first time because of Fabian. And like I said, there's people who constantly like get commissions from me, support my work, support me financially, who found me through Doc Unknown, which is through Fabian. So just shout out to that dude. And then I'll piggyback that back with that first show I did in Texas in 2005, a guy named Greg Thompson, who not a lot of people are going to know that name, but he wrote a book for Image called Hero Camp. And the artist on that was Robbie Rodriguez. The colorist on that was Russ Lowry. So back in 2005, this guy Greg let me and the writer of a book that we were pitching, this guy Grant, he let us stay at his house because we were at this con, and he got a bunch of tables at a Wizard World, whether they comped them or I don't know how it worked out, but that's how I ended up tabling with like Mike Norton, B. Clay Moore, Tony Moore. Maybe Tony wasn't at our table because Walking Dead was already hit by then, but like I said, Robbie Rodriguez. So I was able to kind of like meet a lot of that generation of Image creators and kind of email them. And then when I finally got Villains greenlit, a lot of these guys did pinups for that, like Robbie Rodriguez, Dan Panosian, Andy McDonald, Eric Canetti, Ed Tatum, who's a great artist. All these guys did pinups for my book. The colorist for Hero Camp, Russ, colored Villains. So just like that gave me the first sense of like a fraternity, like a group, even though I wasn't anybody, I was still like fucking around and drinking with like I said, like Jason Latour, Mike Norton, Clay Moore, Tony Moore, Tony's wife, Kara. Like I was a vegetarian at the time. She made me and this was during Thanksgiving. I left my family Thanksgiving weekend to go to Wizard World, Dallas. She made me my own tofurkey. I was the only vegetarian there. She had never met me. She made me a tofurkey. And I think I could be misremembering, but I think maybe she messed up one. So she made a second one so that I could eat and so we could all eat together.
Amazing.
So yeah, just like, that was my first taste of what I love about comics. And that's the camaraderie, the social aspect, it's great. It's a weekend I'll never forget. So I wanted to give those two dudes shout outs. All right, you're up, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are all good calls. I guess I was thinking,
Yeah, you were thinking more like editors, publishers.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking like periphery, sort of, the groundskeepers and the equipment guys.
Well, now if you say whoever you're going to say next, now you make it sound like they're a janitor in your mind.
Yeah. Okay. So the first I put down on the list one Mr. Pete Woods, because he was a guy that early on in my social media-ing, he was one of the first guys that gave me the time of day and would just be really cool and supportive and send me a DM every once in a while and say, I really like this or that. Or he was the first guy to tell me that he was going to actively like sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Push you. Try to put you over in wrestling terms.
Yeah, I was thinking more like proselytize.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think he was doing Superman or some Superman family stuff at the time. So I always remembered that. So thanks, Pete, for keeping my spirits up.
Yeah, Pete's one of those dudes, along with the aforementioned Dan Panosian, who, well, Dan really kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I remember Dan from his early 90s stuff.
Right.
And then I was blown away by how good of an artist he was. And I have Robin issues that Pete drew in the 90s. And then to see what he does now is
an overnight 25-year success.
Mind-blowing. And my Pete story is that I was attached with a writer. Shit, what's his name? Hang on. I just saw a video of him on Twitter. He dunked because it was his 39th birthday. Van Jensen.
Oh.
That's a name, right? That's
yeah.
Okay, so Van, years ago, Van was pitching something to Dark Horse. And I already kind of had a connection at Dark Horse because I did a couple of issues of Dark Horse Presents. I did like a little thing in there. And we were going to do this thing. And so they asked me to draw up a cover and instead of doing a whole pitch, just draw up a cover and maybe like a character design. And I remember Van had these like these insane, like Kirby-esque, like Celestials, Eternals kind of, in my mind at least, that's the kind of shit he was going for, his world, but set in kind of like a modern like hackers universe. I'm doing a terrible job explaining it. But anyways, I don't even think it had a title at that time, but we pitched it. I drew the cover, we pitched it. Of course, it didn't go anywhere because I was attached to the pitch, which is I will murder a pitch. That's for damn sure. But then years later, I was at my library in Flagstaff. This is maybe 5 years later. And I'm just, anything that looks cool, I'm pulling off the shelf, flipping through it. And this one I could see it said Jensen and Woods. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's Van Jensen. And it was called Cryptocracy.
Oh, it was right the first time.
Cryptocracy. And it's that book. So the book that Dark Horse passed on me, of course, they got fucking Pete Woods to draw it. So that's my Pete Woods story. It wasn't that great, but yeah, the few interactions I've had with Pete on social media is fantastic stand-up dude.
Yeah. Yeah, you got cucked by Pete Woods.
I did. And it makes complete sense when you look at the...
Yeah, and I think at the time when we started chatting, he was one of the only guys I knew that worked digitally. And I thought that was super intriguing. And I remember sitting down with my the plug-in like stylus tablet, where you have to keep your eyes on the screen.
Yeah, like a bamboo tablet or something.
Yeah, draw on my lap, but look at the screen.
Yeah.
And try to ink something.
Yeah. I was never able to do that. I could
color.
It's
a nightmare.
I could color that way a little, but drawing is a nightmare.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So Pete made me think I could do it, or at least blew enough smoke up my ass that it kept my cheeks full.
Yeah. Pete's one of those cool dudes too that his early stuff and his modern stuff are both equally good. They're both really good. Like a lot of guys, when they progress, they go into territory that I don't like personally. Like I like the earlier stuff, but his new stuff, his modern stuff is amazing.
Oh, it's great.
But if I pulled out one of those Robin issues with like Man Bat in it or whatever, that's fucking great too,
Yeah. And I remember him, I think, doing a lot of art for like a Wildstorm card set when I was a kid. Maybe some of the Overpower stuff. I pulled those out the other day, kiddos. Check your Google. Overpower was a collectible card game from Marvel and DC in the mid 90s. And it was the worst. But I bought the shit out of it.
Cool.
You should be able to play that online. I don't know why you can't. There should be a free version of that you can play.
I don't know.
Like it's sort of like Pokemon, but so much worse.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot of math. So I every once in a while I think, oh, I should bust them out and like yeah, we'll just have some fun math learning with the 8-year-old. But
no, it's
rather
only
watch The Simpsons.
It's only a matter of time before comic creators more popular than us start doing like a Twitch stream of them playing Overpower, and then they're gonna get like hundreds of thousands of subscribers to their channel.
Oh, that's what we should do. We should have on our TIG Twitch. We should make ourselves some
we'll mic them
some
up, mic
sidecars, you know, with mixed from locally sourced ingredients, and we'll sit down in in our cabbie hats and our suspenders, and we'll play some Overpower.
Yeah,
for the people.
Yeah, I'm into it. We don't have a Twitch channel though. We'll get producer Hank on it. He'll set us up with one.
I'll make us up some decks.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Next on my list is another creator that we all know and love, and it's Uncle Phil Hester. So Phil recommends me for gigs. I'm currently coloring a job right now that I found out Phil recommended me for. I might do some more work with another publisher because of Phil recommended me for it. But mostly not just because he just tries to feed me work. Like you were mentioning, Pete tried to prophesize you and put you over. Phil does that. Phil's, but not just for me, for everybody. Phil knows he's like, oh, this guy's great for that. This guy's great for that. If anything, I'm personally jealous that Phil doesn't recommend me for everything because he's too busy recommending everyone else for everything else. But he's not only is he cool, but he's like super honest. Like he'll look at something and he'll be like, oh, I can see why you didn't get that job. You know, like right to your face. Oh, I could see why I wouldn't have hired you for that. Or, you know, you do this cool. Maybe you should focus on this. So he's super honest. Like I said, he made a dream of mine come true. I didn't draw and create an image book, but my name is on 12 floppies of an image comic and 3 trades of an image comic because of Phil. You know, that's a dream come true. That's something I can never repay him for. And that's, you know, he brought me on that book. You know, he told Jeff Lemire, he told the editor, Will Dennis, this is the guy I want. They said, if that's the guy you want, that's the guy we got. So there was no debate. So shout out to Phil. He won't listen to this because there's too many swear words and too much alcohol. So, but people who listen to this, support Phil's work whenever you can, because he's one of the best. He talks about he'll talk to any creator, big or small, about page rates, what's fair, what's unfair. He's a great wealth of information, and he has a wonderful original art collection that I'll never get to see in person. There we go. Oh, I heard something crack. That's okay. Nice. Oh, Voodoo Ranger. All right. So, so I know that Phil tried to get you on a book once, but
oh, right.
Other than being on the show and just kind of knowing him peripherally, have you ever spent time hanging out with Phil?
Just the one Phoenix Con. I think you and I had lunch with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I just kind of know him mostly like most fans know him, is just through the interwebs. But when I think of comic books, just like generally comic books, like what is comic books, I think of Uncle Phil. I think Phil's the most comic book guy I think I've ever met.
Yeah,
he's so comic books. Like he's talking about original art pages all the time on Twitter.
Yeah,
and dude, he tweets about like dreams he had about different artists drawing books that never happened. It's like, what a fucking nerd. It's great.
Yeah.
Love some P. Hill.
That's right. We all do. All right. What's next on your list?
I want to give a shout out to a very special gentleman, one Pete Woods, who really, or sorry, the other Pete, Tomasi, who was super cool with me as a greenhorn in the Superman universe. Yeah, just very welcoming, very just a sweet man, who also really sort of had my back. And after a couple of stupid fill-in issues on he and Gleason's run, was like, you know, I'm gonna talk to editorial, and I want you to be the third guy on the artist rotation. There were three.
That's a different show.
On one goddamn book.
Yeah. Yeah. But if there weren't three, you might not have been able to get into the rotation.
Yeah, I still didn't, but it was the thought that counted.
Oh, so this is a book that didn't happen.
Yeah. But yeah, cool dude. I still have a relationship with him, even though he's not in the DC fold at the moment, but he's doing some cool shit at Image right now, and so that's exciting. And yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, it's always nice when dudes with some juice want to push you or want to offer you up for work, because they want to work with you. They assume you're a good dude. They want to work with you. They like the cut of your jib. That's a phrase.
That is a thing that people have said.
Right. Yeah. All right. I'm going to wrap up my list with a dude that I think everyone has a relationship with in some sort, and we all know, and that's Big Shannon E. Denton. So Shannon introduces everyone. He introduces everyone to everyone.
Shandy.
Yeah.
Summer Shandy.
Oh yeah, we'll call him Summer Shandy. When he's wearing his baseball cap, he's Summer Shandy. When he's cowboying it up, he's Ranch Shandy.
Hidden Valley. We'll call him Hidden Valley.
Yeah, there you go. He's one of the few guys. Phil's another dude. One of the few guys that'll never. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for everyone else. He's never big timed me. You know, and if he has to big time me, he'll straight up say, "Oh, I gotta go talk to," and he'll name off a creator who's way above my pay grade, and he'll be like, "But I'll be around later. Just text me." You know, whereas some other dudes will just like walk away in the middle of a conversation if they see an editor or a bigger named artist or writer, they'll just walk straight away.
Yeah,
I appreciate the dudes who are straight up about it. Layman straight up about it. Like at one point, he told me like, "I'm gonna stop talking to you because I'm gonna go talk to." You know, this dude at DC. And I was like, okay, cool, man. And he's like, I'll catch you later. And I appreciate that rather than the dude who just like blows you off or whatever. But Shannon, outside of Malvi, Shannon introduced me to most of the veteran pros that I know in the industry. Phil, obviously, Andy Kuhn. I mean, Andy's one of my best friends in comics. You know, I love Andy. Phil, you know, it's just like one day, this is back when Phoenix Con was still in Mesa. It was winding up, and Shannon, Phil, and Andy were going to go to dinner, and Shannon's like, come with us. And I'd never met Phil or Andy. And we all had like Tex-Mex and shot the shit about like Kirby and, you know, that kind of, it's just like just fun. Like, just a great dude. And like I said, introduces me to everybody. He used to live in Phoenix. But when I'm in California, if I meet up with him, whoever he's with, I'll be like, oh, hey, this is my friend. He writes for like this TV show. Because he knows everybody. He'll run into.
Yeah.
I've never walked more than 10 feet with that dude and not run into somebody that he's like, oh yeah, this guy writes on this show, or this guy's a storyboarder. We should get you into storyboarding, you know, that kind of shit. So
yeah, he's like yeah, he's like, I imagine Seth Rogen to be like, except with less pot.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a guy who knows everybody, and he's that old school. he does that old school thing of always introducing whoever he's with whoever, you know. So if I'm just walking by and I like wave at him because he's talking to, like, let's say like a Lean Ween or somebody like that, I'll just wave at him as I'm walking by. He'll wave me over and he'll be like, oh, hey, Lean, this is my friend Ryan. Like, he'll introduce me, that kind of shit. And that's very few guys do that because they're such a looking out for number one in comics. Unless you're already someone who doesn't have to look out for your own career. But for a lot of us, it's kind of a shark infested waters. But he's the one guy who's like,
oh, he remembers everything.
Yeah.
Like everything. I was at, where the fuck were we? In Tucson. I don't remember, 16, 17, something. I guess it was 16. Yeah, and he came over and he's like, I was in the DC offices the other week, and I saw some art for one of their Vertigo books lying around. He's like, I recognize that. And like he recognized my stuff on this Vertigo book that he didn't know what I was doing, and my name was nowhere on it. It's just like, oh yeah. So yeah, man. Hidden Ranch.
Shout out.
Pops.
Yeah. What was the other name that I gave him that was better?
Summer Shandy.
Summer Shandy. It's a fucking good one. Oh, by the way, Summer Shandy's in-laws live like 20 minutes from where my parents live. So we've yet to connect over a winter.
Wow.
Yet to connect over a winter holiday, but it's on the books.
Seems inevitable.
Yeah. That's it for my list. Do you have anything else? Anybody else?
No.
All right. But it is fun to have friends in comics that are like better than you. Not you, but I'm speaking for myself.
Sure.
Better than me. No one's better than you. You're my favorite.
No, everybody's better than me.
No. I mean,
that's what you want to be on any project. You want to be like the weakest link.
Yeah.
I just want to work with people that I know are better.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're my favorite artist that I know personally, but I do know Corey Walker personally. So you're like my second favorite artist that I know personally.
Think a little harder. I'm sure I'll fall a little further.
But you return my emails and texts, so that puts you in a
sometimes
rarefied air. Yeah. But yeah, it's good. I think it's good to show appreciation. Like that's something I think that's something I picked up from Shannon is he always goes out of his way if there's like an old veteran of comics around, he'll go out of his way to say hi to and try to be like, hey, everyone should go say hi to this guy. You know, he created, you know, Metamorpho or, you know, whoever, you know.
Darkhawk.
Yeah. Oh, Mike Manley. Darkhawk. Yeah. Darkhawk's making a comeback, baby.
Yeah, I've seen this.
New Darkhawk.
Everything old is new again.
That's right. New Darkhawk. Doesn't that sound like an imperial stout of like someone already
Darkhawk?
Yeah, someone had like an already popular imperial stout.
Now, whenever I hear Nighthawk, or Darkhawk, I think Nighthawk, and then I think Step Brothers.
Well, Nighthawk is in Squadron Supreme, which is having
I mean, who the fuck knows who Nighthawk is?
No, he's a Batman ripoff, but aren't they all?
You have to call me Dragon. Well, you have to call me Nighthawk. Yeah, and then I think of Darkhawk.
Speaking of bunk beds,
whenever I see Marvel's Darkhawk, I think of Will Ferrell rubbing his balls on a drum set.
Just last week, I was thinking about so Step Brothers makes me think of bunk beds, and it reminds me of when if anyone is old enough to have grown up with bunk beds, they were just two beds held together by four pegs.
Yes. Yeah, my 8-year-old has bunk beds.
Yeah. I remember every time we moved when I was a kid, we would just lift the top bunk off and it would just be an inch long dowel.
Yeah.
4 of those was all that stopped my bed that I did horrible things in the top bunk in from slipping off. And I'm like, who thought this was safe? Like, at what point was this safe?
It works.
Yeah, you don't ever hear about them collapsing in on each other.
No.
So it must work.
No. Well, I don't know. Maybe Big Bunk Bed is keeping a lid on accidents.
Yeah, they're paying off all those families. There's families all over the world whose children have been squished.
Right.
Yeah, and they're just, no, we can't let this
The
innovative.
men in black overalls show up and
yeah,
erase everybody's memory.
yeah. The ability to stack 2 small children in one bedroom is too important to just let a few accidents fuck it up. It's like we'll tell them the truth about aliens before we'll tell them the truth about bunk beds.
Yeah. Those bunk bed lobbyists swing a big stick.
Actually, it's 4 really small sticks that they connect other things to. All right, so shout out to everyone on our list. Shout out to retailers. Shout out to
props to bunk beds.
Veteran creators. Shout out to bunk beds. Shout out to the modified sidecar. Again, every sidecar recipe I pulled up was nothing like what you told me.
I don't know where it came from. I read it at some point and I did it, and then I must have changed it for something, and it just kept changing every time I did.
But I don't see why I would ever need anything other than fresh squeezed citrus, some homemade simple syrup, which, by the way, it's called simple syrup. Spoiler alert, just melt some sugar in some water. Simple syrup, homemade citrus, couple shots.
Citrus.
Yeah, well, it takes a while because you got to grow it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
And then you got to squeeze it. I don't have a citrus squeezer, so I had to use these mittens. Yeah. And then some of the cheapest brandy known to man. I actually thought, like, I don't want to buy a bottle of brandy, so let me get the $1 shots at Fry's. They were, I was going to get 4 because I'm going to make some sangria later this weekend.
Okay.
And so I was going to get 4 of them, and then I went to the liquor aisle, and an entire bottle of E&J was $6.
Oh, so you got yourself a 5th. Good.
Yeah. I'm going to make some rosé sangria this weekend with some brandy is what they recommend.
You're a fine girl.
Brandy,
what a good drink you would be.
Such a fine girl. I loved it, if you can't tell. I loved it to death. I don't like whiskey sours, but I love the shit out of this. Yeah. I love the shit out of that, dude. So whatever it's called, the side Scotty, I love it.
Yeah, it's just brandy's just hard wine.
Weak, but it's not weak bourbon. It's just hard wine.
It is. Yeah, it's grapes. So,
yeah. Oh, is that what brandy is? It's super alcoholic wine?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I mean, you could do different things. I mean, there's like apple brandy and peach brandy. And
yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's for cowards and children.
Yeah, but no. So yeah, brandy traditionally is, or not like bourbons and whiskeys. Cognac is brandy, but not all brandy's cognacs.
Right.
That is the origin. Yeah. So they came from.
So like prison toilet wine is probably closer to brandy than it is to wine.
Yeah.
We got to get an incarcerated on here to talk about this.
Oh, we could just get arrested. And
well, next time I'm in Charlotte, I'm sure there's a warrant out.
Research.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a warrant out for one of the both of us in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County.
I couldn't tell you.
The best part of that trip was I took a photo of you and I posted it to the Tig Show Instagram, and you looked like you were dying. And I showed you the photo later, and you were like, "I was having so much fun."
I haven't listened to the episode. I don't hear good things, but yeah, it was great. It's just great.
Yeah, shout out to Mecklenburg County detectives. Lose my number. All right, man. Thanks
for dare you.
Yeah. So is it the side Scotty or the Scotty car? What I'm going to call it the Scotty car. What I made.
No, that's weak.
Well, I got to think of something. Side piece. My side piece over there was great. Piece. Yeah, the side piece. I loved it. I recommend it. Get some brandy, get some citrus, get some sugar. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, double it up, bro.
Yeah. I didn't have any cherries to put in it, but I assume that would have been delicious.
It's so good.
But yeah,
it's like a banana split sundae.
Yeah. Hit me back.
They're super sweet, but I have a crazy sweet tooth.
Yeah, wait till this weekend when I throw some brandy and some rosé with some fruits. It's gonna be on like Donkey Kong. All right, man. Until next week, Scott, send us packing.
Yeah, I guess everybody be good to each other. I should write down something for the end of the show. I should have like a new thing.
It's literally the one thing you have to do.
I'll workshop something.
Yeah. All right, man. Go pour yourself another quadruple.
Totally. Get yourself some brandy, y'all.
Yeah, she's a fine girl.